Part of what I do on this show is I stop lies. No one's been lied about more than Pam Bondi. She's incredible. You've been lied to saying that she's a hack. Now, a lot of those people have left my audience. They want to keep being lied to by other channels. Fine. Go. Welcome to Doug in Exile. This is where the happy patriots are. Shout out to the Quad Club, the people that watch 4 videos a day. You guys really help keep the lights on. You're why I don't read my own ads like some people do. I get plenty just by you guys watching, sharing this show, and liking and leaving a comment in the comments below. And you guys are giving this channel highest ratings. I can tell when they send out the surveys. Thank you for giving us high ratings. Let's get to Pam Bondi. I will make my case. If you're not convinced yet, give me a chance because I think I can convince you. We've got great news coming from her. She's really doing Trump's work. Here's the story in NBC News. The Trump ally fighting for criminal investigations of Obama, Biden, and Clinton for years. Mike Davis called for probes into what he calls the greatest conspiracy in American history. New investigations approved by Attorney General Pam Bondi have raised his hopes. Now, those of you who don't know Mike Davis, you haven't been watching the show because this is one of the main guys that I quote all the time. Here he is saying, lawyer up, lawfare Democrats, justice is coming. Nobody is above the law. He says Obama, Biden, and Clinton criminal investigations are most likely approaching, says Mike Johnson. Why? Because it was Pam Bondi, as this headline says, that raised his hopes. Let's go here. For 3 years, Mike Davis, a Republican lawyer and former legal counsel of Senator Chuck Grassley, Republican, Iowa, and he clerked for Justice Gorsuch, has pushed for federal criminal investigations of Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama, Joe Biden, and senior FBI, CIA, and Justice Department officials. He's on the front edge of all these investigations. Now, a series of recent investigations approved by Attorney General Pam Bondi, they couldn't have happened without her approval, suggests to Davis that his long-sought goal is most likely approaching. See, Mike Davis has always been there doing the work, but he didn't have the authority. He needed someone like Pam Bondi in authority to do it. Bondi this month approved 2 federal criminal investigations of New York attorney Letitia James. That's number one. That's to be one of the big ones. And on Senator Adam Schiff, Democrat of California, Bondi has instructed an unnamed federal prosecutor to begin a grand jury investigation of whether Obama administration officials committed federal crimes when they assessed Russia's actions during the 2016 election. Between Pam Bondi and Mike Davis, they could take all of this down. Barack Obama, Adam Schiff, Hillary Clinton, they're all tied to it. Bondi's order came weeks after National Intelligence Director Tulsi Gabbard accused Obama and his aides of a treasonous conspiracy and said she had sent a criminal referral to the Justice Department. Davis applauded Bondi's actions in a recent interview. This is the greatest conspiracy in American history, he said. What he said is the Democrat plots against President Trump. There must be the most severe legal, political, and financial consequences for this unprecedented weaponization. This must never happen again. Bondi's office in the White House did not immediately respond to requests for comment. Obama, Biden, Clinton, and former FBI, Justice Department, CIA officials have repeatedly dismissed the allegations. Democrats say the new probes are an effort to distract attention from allegations that Trump has abused his power in his second term from his failure to release the Jeffrey Epstein files. And because I'm not here to terrify you or get you anger or have you go off on a wild goose chase, notice the Democrats bring up the Jeffrey Epstein files, which I only tell you about this because of the news. It's worthy to let you know what the Democrat trick is. They want you focused on Jeffrey Epstein. I think it's a huge waste of time and resources. I want to get to the bottom of it. I'm fine with it. I want the truth to come out. I'm fine with that too. I want arrests made if they need to be made. But this is the real stuff, is what Pam Bondi is working on. Mike Davis. Now, this is responding to a New Yorker hit piece on Pam Bondi where they say Pam Bondi's power play. You know, they're whistling out about her. Mike Davis says, quote, now listen to this carefully, because this establishes her as the queen of all these investigations, on our side, Trump's right-hand woman. I said the same thing about Mike Johnson, by the way. I'm not as stalwart of a fan of Mike Johnson as I am of Pam Bondi, because he is a senator, so you got to get a little swampy over there. Mike Johnson says no Republican attorney general has been more effective so quickly as Pam Bondi. Now, I started reporting on her months ago, and everyone started jumping me going, she's a sellout, she's this. No, you're wrong. Mike Davis works very close with her and knows the truth. She's not going anywhere, and she shouldn't go anywhere. Here's Trump at the Oval Office on these investigations, asked by a reporter.
It would be a team sport to push.
His sound's a little low.
That it might need them to compromise on their normal modalities. What's your reaction to the latest declassification? And in your view, sir, what does real accountability look like for the players involved?
It's incredible what we're finding. Absolute proof of guilt. And we'll see what happens. But Clapper and Comey and that whole group of criminals, they're criminals. And they made it very tough. You know, they did the fake Russia witch hunt that lasted for 2 years. And I got totally exonerated. There was no doubt about it. They should have done it in 1 day, not 2 years. But it was a whole scheme to try and demean Trump so that I couldn't win an election. That is a criminal group of people. They're sick people, and they're criminals, and they should be taken care of.
They're going to be taken care of by our legal system. Here's Byron Donalds on the same issue.
Will the Oversight Committee look into Schiff and other Democrats for leaking to the press during the 2016 Russia hoax?
Oh, we absolutely should. And it shouldn't just be House oversight. It should also be House intel, because what Chief Meadows was saying is stories that I've heard in my time on Capitol Hill, that Adam Schiff primarily and others would read something in the skiff, go out to the cameras and either tell it to the press or leak it to the press so he could get asked questions. It is undermining the intelligence gathering apparatus, and it is also demonstrates the manipulation that the Democrats were engaged in top to bottom, in my view. I'm not just talking about Hillary. I'm talking about the DNC, the White House, members of Congress. It was a top to bottom way of undermining the intelligence gathering operation in order to undermine President Trump during his first term. So it needs to fully be investigated. And yeah, he's a member of the Senate now, but that doesn't matter. Leaking classified information is illegal. No member of Congress is allowed to do that.
It is a top to bottom corruption. Byron Donalds calling out every level of government. Meanwhile, here's Bill Barr getting questioned on Capitol Hill. Thank you, Pam Bondi.
What's the message that you have for the committee today?
That's Bill Barr right there in the middle with the blue tie. Backstab Trump.
Justice straight with Americans, not everything about Jeffrey Epstein?
They're bringing him in for questioning about Epstein. Total distraction. Here's Comer on their questioning of Bill Barr. He said he's complying.
We're having really good conversations. You have to understand you can imagine how many documents there are. I think that we're going to have I think we'll receive the documents very soon. They're compiling everything together. I think we're working together in a good faith effort, and everything's coming along. I expect to receive the documents very, very soon.
He'll be getting documents. That'll be more news. This is a distraction. What's my proof? Here, how many of you agree with Jessica Tarloff? She says, where are the Epstein files? Jessica Tarloff on Twitter just a couple minutes ago. This is when Trump announced that he was going to end mail-in ballots. Biggest announcement about addressing that part of election history is he wants to remove the machines, do paper ballots, remove mail-ins. Here's Republicans against Trump. Trump says he plans to lead a government to get rid of mail-in ballots in the U.S. elections, falsely claiming that only the U.S. uses them. And Jessica Tarloff says, where are the Epstein files? Now, you're supposed to be like Pavlov's dog. Remember the bell rings and he starts to slobber when food's around? Jessica Tarloff thinks you just mentioned that, and you guys are all off track. Get off Pam Bondi. What about Epstein? Slobber, ding, slobber, slobber, slobber. Jessica Tarloff. It doesn't work on us, my audience. I'm spraying you guys in Teflon from this kind of distraction, this shiny foil ball, and they expect you to go, oh yeah, look over there, look over there. No, cool and calm. They'll investigate it. I really don't care. I do care about this. This is Ed Martin on the real stuff going on.
Joining me now in the Sunday Morning Futures exclusive.
He came into office. She put a memo. Trump came into
View, and you have criminal referrals right now on Adam Schiff, Letitia James, among others. What is the status?
Well, first of all, thanks for asking about the last 10 years. I mean, you know, when Donald Trump came into office as president, he signed an executive order saying, go and find out how government was weaponized against the citizens. When Attorney General Bondi came into office, she put a memo, put more specifics to it, and said, get to the bottom of this. She gave a specific list and a broad charge. And I have to tell you, for your viewers, we have the Attorney General Bondi has that Department of Justice spinning like a top.
Pam Bondi, that's Ed Martin, one of the toughest. This is our special prosecutor, says she's spinning like a top. Mike Davis says she's the best AG ever. I hope I've made my case. This is a personal testimony from people that keep saying, because of what she does is why all of these things are happening.
Got more stuff going on. A lot of it we can't talk about because of the nature of it, but it's going like crazy. And one of them was we were in a group, we're still in it, working on the Russia hoax. And Tulsi Gabbard declassified what happened, and she sent it over to us, to DOJ, as a criminal referral. And that's ongoing now. But what that was, and Maria, you're one of the earliest, I think you might be the only person, the only journalist who said early on, this is a Russia hoax. And you know, Brett had President Trump on an interview on that flight to Alaska. And in the interview, President Trump said the Russia hoax was meant to destroy the relationship with Russia, make it impossible to get things under control, get a reset like Hillary said she wanted. So what we have in the Department of Justice now is a weaponization working group and the backing of our leadership to go and find this stuff. And so the Russia hoax, we know the birthday of the Russia hoax. It's December 8th, 2016, where the Obama administration, including Obama, said, don't put the truth out, lie, and ask the media to help us. And the Washington Post and others jumped right in. And then we had the Russia hoax that went on for 10 years. And every time they get in trouble, meaning the deep state and others, they throw another hoax out. And all we're doing at DOJ and all we're doing across the government is saying, get the truth out. And then, by the way, let's hold people accountable. And that's exactly what's going on. So when Bill Pulte sends a criminal referral over to us, and he says Letitia James and Adam Schiff, and by the way, both their lawyers have come out and talked publicly about that criminal referral. So you can talk to them about the specifics, because I'm going to tell you what we're going to do is we're going to follow the facts. Every American that has a mortgage or has other documents they sign has to follow the law. We're going to go to the very bottom of the facts. And if somebody did something wrong, we're not only going to hold them accountable, we're also going to look at everything else that they've been doing. Because when you're a liar, you lie not just on one thing. When you're a cheater, you cheat not just on one thing. When you're doing corruption, you generally don't just do it on one thing. So we have.
So now they're going to find so much more on Letitia James and Adam Schiff. They're going through all their files, all their emails. For those people that say, there's no arrest, they'll walk, nothing will happen. No, you're wrong. No, you are wrong. Listen to me. You've never had the documents exposed like this. You've never had a Pam Bondi, a Kash Patel, a Ed Martin like this. You never had the backup, the legal backup of information to pursue anything. And like Comer said, they're going through so many documents on Epstein, like 10,000 documents. It's going to take time. So the reason why it hasn't happened yet, it may happen, it will happen, it should happen. For whatever reason they walked in the past and got away with it, that reason is gone. So you can't use it on me and on these people. Change your answer. Get informed. I'm here to help keep you from making a fool of yourself. Because these guys, this is the first time we've had access, like you said right now, over Letitia James's real estate. Now they're able to go through all of her files. Anyone who lied 3 times about 3 different investigations, they're going to probably find 7. That's just the modus operandi of how these people work.
That's our what we're asked to do as prosecutors, and that's what we're doing.
Well, we are all waiting for accountability here. Adam Schiff went on Sunday morning programs and said there was collusion in plain sight. And he was the chairman of the Intelligence Committee, so he had to know better that there was no evidence of any collusion in plain sight. So are you saying that this criminal referral is about something completely different, about mortgage fraud? Are you looking to get him on something other than Russia collusion?
Yes.
Well, I'm saying that there's a referral from Bill Pulte about a mortgage fraud, about Adam Schiff. That's publicly discussed. His own lawyers have been out there. Now there's more on Adam Schiff. And all we're going to do, again, is get to the facts of this and use all the tools that we have in our system. What we've discovered, and I know you want to ask me about some of this in the weaponization, is that Joe Biden's Justice Department actively targeted American citizens, Catholics who went to Mass, parents who went to school boards, people who were involved in the Russia. You know, I hear from Carter Page every now and then. Carter Page, it was destroyed by the Russia hoax. And we're sitting around and pretending it's okay to say that, you know, there was a secret meeting on December 9th, 2016 in the Situation Room where they plotted the Russia hoax. And then we're going to say, oh, that was really bad. No, it wasn't really bad. It needs to be held accountable in every way we can.
Held accountable. And I've already done news on those Catholics that were spied on. American citizens were targeted. People who went and spoke up at a PTA meeting, and Merrick Garland and Christopher Wray sicked the FBI after them. That's going to get investigated and prosecuted, like Ed Martin said. If there's guilt there, it has to be prosecuted. They weren't allowed to look until now under Pam Bondi. So hold tight. There's a new sheriff in town. This ain't Merrick Garland anymore, where everyone walks for 10 years.
Well, you went to Letitia James's home this week. You were in New York.
We did an episode on that last week where he was dressed up like Columbo in the Columbo jacket.
Yeah, look, I'm a prosecutor, and when I do these cases, I was in New York I was in Newark, actually, New Jersey, for some meetings, and I went over to New York for another meeting, and I went by there. One of the referrals is about that property that she has, is a very a prominent neighborhood in Brooklyn, and I wanted to lay eyes on it. I think most people, if you're prosecuting something, you're careful. I didn't go there and announce it. Some woman came storming up and shooting video and talking to me, but I wanted to see the property. And there's a number of other aspects of these cases where you got to get a sense of what is actually at stake.
Do you have a grand jury in these cases?
Let me say, when you get a criminal referral, one of the tools you have is a grand jury. And
he'll say one of the tools is a grand jury. You know, one of the rules of a grand jury is you're not allowed to talk about them. So he has to avoid the question, but answer it. In other words, yes, there's a grand jury on Letitia James.
Leave it to you to infer what I mean, but these referrals are criminal referrals, significant enough that that they would warrant using all the tools, and the tools include subpoenas and witnesses, and that is in our system. That is the system. I'm not like Jack Smith. Jack Smith liked to talk about how he did things and what he did. And
he's the reciprocal of Jack Smith. So Jack Smith was a special prosecutor, and this guy Ed Martin is our special prosecutor, but he's not like Jack Smith.
About Letitia James did, by the way, as a prosecutor. She liked to come out and hold press conferences. I'll just tell you, when you get a criminal referral and her own lawyer made the comments publicly, you can infer what you need to.
Well, let's talk about January 6th, because you are also investigating January 6th, which was also part of this 10 years of scandals. What have you learned?
Well, again, Attorney General Pam Bondi let us loose on this, and there's a group of us working on January 6th. What we've learned is that the federal government, the Department of Justice, but other aspects, targeted these citizens. They basically turned...
Attorney General Pam Bondi let us loose on this. Are you guys hearing it yet? I never want to hear that again about Pam Bondi. You guys, I don't know where it comes from either. These lies go all around the internet. This is one of the most powerful DOJs that we ever had. People go, I wish Matt Gaetz got it. Matt Gaetz himself said Pam Bondi is the most powerful DOJ, and she's doing an incredible job. That was just within 2 weeks ago. So everyone agrees Pam Bondi is the real one, right? Do you get it yet? She's incredible. It takes like years. I'll keep getting these comments for years. They still go up and go, Mike Johnson's just a rhino. I'm like, wrong. Dan Bongino sold out. And I go, wrong. Pam Bondi on topic. Now, Trump had his meeting with Zelensky today. I just wanted to show you one little clip, which is that the meeting concluded, and then Trump's going to get on the phone. He might be with Putin. after this meeting, just like he got on the phone with Zelensky in Europe afterwards. Here he is at the end of the meeting with Zelensky.
Look, we just spoke to, I was just telling the president, I just spoke to President Putin indirectly, and we're going to have a phone call right after these meetings today. And we may or may not have a trilat. If we don't have a trilat, then the fighting continues. And if we do, we have a good chance. I think if we have a trilat, there's a good chance of maybe ending it. But he's expecting my call when we're finished with this meeting. Thank you very much.
And that's it. There's Zelensky. They're almost wearing a suit. Well, I guess that counts as a suit. But that was a very successful meeting. So Trump said he's hoping there'll be a trilateral meeting, between Zelensky, Trump, and Putin, and they can declare peace as soon as Zelensky is ready to give up the land and declare peace. This last one, the exchange, I really like this one. Okay. Zelensky stopped elections in his country while they were at war. Listen to Trump, and this is going to drive Democrats absolutely nuts, but this is the most genius thing I've seen.
Legal elections.
And you say during the war, you can't have elections. So let me just say 3.5 years from now. So you mean if we happen to be in a war with somebody, no more elections? Oh, I wonder what the fake.
You like this idea?
No, this is
No.
I got a question for you.
No one else, only Zelensky laughed in the room. They were so mortified. See, the Democrats are protecting Zelensky. You got to look at Trump's smile there. He is cracking up. He said, look, because Democrats will not criticize Zelensky, but Zelensky has stopped elections because it's during a war. And so Trump says, so you're telling me that if we're at war in 3.5 years, we don't have to have an election and I get to stay president? That is amazing, because as the Democrats criticize him and say, Trump, you can't do that. That's anti-democracy. That's anti-civilization if you stop a war. And he'll just go, oh, you mean like Zelensky, your buddy? Genius. Trump is a genius. And now you're on what where all of the investigations are. It's all good news, guys. Kick back. Let Trump do his thing. Stay here and subscribe, and I'll keep telling you guys the truth. I do not lie to you, and I despise when people try and make you hysterical or scared or just hateful of things that just don't even exist. Thank you guys for watching. You're the best employer I've ever had. I'm Doug in Exile. Subscribe.